Alright, this is BCA-101, what we covered Friday in the class, 9/30/16, day 14 of the class. Here's what we did. We emphasized key parts to a computer system. We started out the processor, and then we mentioned memory, storage, and all of these in here are located on a motherboard. And we looked at motherboards and these items on real computers. Also in there, somewhere these things are all connected. Information flows in and out. Actually comes from here, hard drive, on a bus, electronic bus. There's an entire bus system that's just kind of built in the motherboard for information to move back and forth. Also on the motherboard we have slots in which we can add, and then we have all kinds of ports that we can connect things to. USB would be one example of a port, and all that communicates to the bus. Another key thing on the motherboard is the clocking, and most computers now are at gigahertz, billions of clicks per second. So as items move through the computer, for example, instructions have to move from the processor, from the memory to the processor processes them and sends them back. In the processor we talked about registers and the arithmetic logic unit, the ability of the processor to do arithmetic and make logical decisions. Sometimes a little bit hard to believe, but that is about it. That is about all a processor can, or that is all a processor can do. Move things in and out of the registers and do arithmetic and make logical decisions. So, key items in there would be, we talk about the processor, and there we talked about how many bits, word length. We talk about registers, we talked about the arithmetic logic unit. Processor communicates with memory, and memory communicates with storage. So we have to take items from storage, put them in the memory, and then from memory they go to the processor, they get processed to come back to memory. And then with all of this, we talk about getting information into the computer and getting information out of the computer, input and process. Alright. Next thing I want to mention is we talked about spreadsheets. And there were some key things from the other day that we talked about. We talked about cells, labels, numbers, cell references, relative, absolute. Okay. Talked a little bit about putting in formulas. The other day we talked about the if statement. If, and then we have a conditional. If the conditional is true, we do what's here. If it's false, we do what's here. Okay? So this conditional in here would have greater than, less than, equals to, or it could have greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Again, based on this condition, we would do this if it's true. If the condition was false, it skips over the true and does the false part. Other thing we looked at, vertical lookup. If you have some table of information, the vertical lookup would take what's here and look into the first column. And it'll look, and there's a couple options. Either find a match, okay, it'll start looking, it'll either find an exact match, or it'll find a value bigger, and if it does, then it goes back here, and then it's going to look up specific things in columns. So this is what it's looking up. Then you list the table, and we did that by naming the table, and then this is the column to grab the information from. So you can look down the list, find a match or something bigger, go back, and then based on this number, take either this value, this value, this value, depending on how big your table is. Alright, that is it.